and welcome here to TalkFCB, and welcome back to the channel here today, guys, where we are going to continue our conversation and our opinion in today's video with more analysis on what we want to see at Barça, what we need to see in Xavi's team. And today we've got extra emphasis on midfield. That's the big topic right now, isn't it? Midfielders in this team, as we're going to be going through the big dilemma that Xavi really does have right now, some of the options that he has at his disposal, different combinations that he could use, and we're also going to be discussing as well what Joao Cancelo, who is set to arrive, could bring to our whole team. How could he help unlock this team's potential? It is all coming your way today. I really hope you're going to enjoy it. Thank you indeed for tuning in, and let's do this. But I do want to kick off right here today, guys, by talking actually about Lamine Yamal, because obviously we've spoken a lot about the concerns from the weekend's performance there from the team, things that we have to improve. We're going to be talking about that, but I think one thing and one player that we really shouldn't ignore and we shouldn't fail to talk more about was Lamine Yamal's competitive debut, because to me, he was outstanding. And credit as well, I've got to say, to Xavi for giving him that start, having the bravery there to start a 16-year-old. That shouldn't go unnoticed either, but I just think there's actually been so much expectation surrounding Yamal. You know, we've heard so much about him. We know what he can do, the quality that he has, that maybe we're not reacting to his performance as much as we should have done, because he was brilliant. He was absolutely fantastic in his first start. He was a real danger on that right side. He was skipping inside as well, combining well with the midfield, little combination play. That's what we want to see at Barca. That's what we've got to see more of. Combination play. Let's strike up some combinations. That is something that we always have in these Barca teams. Let's see more of it. And it was amazing to see there the confidence of Yamal, having the freedom to move around, demand the ball at times. He was saying, give it to me. You know, I'm ready to take this on. I'm ready to take a risk. That's what you want from a Barcelona player. And I just think it says it all, really, in many different ways, that in that first half especially, he was our most dangerous player by some distance. And I think that speaks volumes there about how good he is, how good a 16-year-old he actually is, the fact that he was our biggest threat. But I think it also spoke about the team's performance in that first half. You know, we need more of a threat. You can't just rely on a 16-year-old to carry your forward line. So really good signs from Yamal, but everybody else has got to up their game and has to give more. And I do just want to move on here to talk about a transfer rumour right now. I've been asked quite a few times here about Giovani Celso. Now, Jared Romero came out last night and he said there have been quite a few contacts recently between Barça and Lo Celso's camp in the past few days. They're talking with his agent, talking about what may be possible in this transfer window. We know the player there is looking to leave Tottenham, and it said there that Xavi is a huge fan of his. And I think we've always felt here that Lo Celso, he's always been our backup to Bernardo Silva. If we weren't able to get Bernardo, Lo Celso is a cheaper option, and he is on the market this summer. But it is worth noting right now that Barca would require departures to have space there to register him before the end of the window. But it is a name that stays on the table right now. And if we could do it, if there was an opportunity to do it, Xavi would like the club to pursue this move. But what I would like to say here is, how many more midfielders? How many more midfielders can we get at this club right now? I'm a big fan of Lo Celso. I think he's an excellent midfielder. I think he's proven himself as well in La Liga, on the international stage too. He's a really wonderful midfield player. I'm sure that he would suit Barca in many ways, but that isn't my concern anymore. You know, there's lots of good players out there. Doesn't mean we have to sign them all in midfield. And I just think there's only so many midfielders that we can play at any given time. And there are clear deficiencies in our team, in our squad, players maybe that we could add. I wouldn't really say another midfielder is one of those priorities right now. So I think we have so much quality, as we're going to go on to talk about today. And Lo Celso really not a priority and shouldn't be in this summer transfer window. But speaking of potential signings, one player that we do definitely want, one player that we are hoping the club can wrap up, is indeed Joao Cancelo. He is our priority right now, and a final agreement there between Barca and Man City. It's so close. It really, really is right now. We're waiting on that final announcement as well, hopefully coming at some point this week. And we are getting a bit impatient. You know, we want this deal to happen. We want it to be announced. We need Cancelo here now. Let's be real here. The sooner, the better. But hopefully very, very soon, that is all going to be confirmed. But I do still want want to talk today, guys, about, for me, what Cancelo will bring this team, how he'll help us, how maybe he could help to fix some of the problems that we did discuss yesterday there, about lacking a threat, about not taking risks there, and about opening up the field and being more creative. Because I just think here with Cancelo, we've spoken a lot about the fact that he gets forward, that he can make those real bursting runs forward from right back. He'll always look to be on the attack. And what that will do already is stretch the pitch, make sure there that he's at the last line of defence of our opposition, and that'll give us some real nice width on the right side. I think that actually suits all of our wingers, not just Rafinha. There's somebody who could play in that inside space that Cancelo can help create, but I think that suits Lamine Yamal. He would love to skip inside there. Cancelo overlapping, Yamal there drifting inside. That could work really well. And I also think about Ferran Torres too. He's very intelligent there about picking up those pockets of space Cancelo can burst on, and Ferran as well can do well in those areas. So all three wingers, I feel, would be helped by Cancelo there, providing that added threat behind them. But what is interesting right now, I feel, and one thing maybe we haven't spoken about as much, is what Cancelo could also do to our midfield area, what he could also add in that area too. Because it's not just about getting forward, pushing him on, but he could also come inside too. You remember during his time there playing under Pep, when Pep was really a big fan of his, but it all went wrong there at City, he was really enjoying that inverted role. He would actually go and join in with Man City's midfield. He would pick up the ball there. He could dictate play. He could control the tempo at times. He's that good on the ball. And he was also like a playmaker in that area. So I think here with Cancelo, we've also got the option, and I think it could really work well for Xavi, of him coming inside when we're in possession, when we're going forward there. He can at times join the midfield. But that is another reason why, for me, guys, especially when we have Cancelo, there's no need to overload the midfield area. There's no need here to pile the midfielders into the team, because we'll be adding yet another player who has the qualities to step in when needed, take on responsibility, and hopefully Xavi will see there that we don't need many midfielders all doing the same job. But this is the big question right now, guys, and this is the crucial dilemma that I'm sure is swirling around right now in Xavi's mind there when thinking about those midfield options, when thinking about the best partnerships to go with. Because say Xavi does revert eventually back to three in midfield there, goes with three out-and-out forwards, and we actually play only with three midfielders, the question then will be, with everybody fit, who do you choose as that trio? Because, for instance, you've got Pedri. Now, he is somebody you'd imagine must start. If he's available, he is going in your team. But I did think until recently, until his goal against Cadiz there, I didn't feel as though Pedri was having the same kind of influence on games as we've seen in the past. I think actually he's capable of much more. And I'm maybe even starting to wonder, does he thrive more in a three-man midfield? Does he not really like that middle of the field to be too crowded? He likes to have space. You saw it at the weekend there, later in the game. He was able to make runs forward. He was able to make runs beyond our attacking players. That is really important there. A big part of Pedri's game that he's only going to build on. So for me, Pedri would be in there. You've then got new signing Ilkay Gundogan. Now for me, he's settling in really well now. Every single game that we're seeing with Gundogan, I think he's growing. He's understanding more about the style of play here. I really liked his performance on Sunday. I thought he had a big part in the goal there for Pedri. And he's able to control the tempo too. He is somebody there with so many unique qualities. And he's actually, for me, several midfielders in one, which is another reason why I don't think you need loads of midfielders in this team, because the players are so good, like Pedri, like Gundogan, they can do it all. So you've actually got several players in one there with somebody like him. And then you've got Frenkie de Jong. He is somebody, of course, who played at centre-back at the weekend, very well there too. He's so versatile. Everywhere he plays, he seems to do it well. But you do know with him, he's not really that comfortable as a lone pivot. So if you play him, has it got to be either as an interior, or has it got to be there a bit deeper, but with a partner? So you may have to restructure your midfield to suit Frenkie de Jong, which is when we talk about Oriol Romeu. Now, he has been at the base of our midfield as that lone pivot, and he's done it really well. You've got to say, since he arrived at the club, he hasn't really put a foot wrong. Every time that he's been called upon, he takes care of the ball, he's good in a tackle, he's strong, he's physical when needed, but he is very astute as well in possession. And I think many people would feel as though if you took him out of the team right now, would it be a bit harsh on Romeo. And then finally, there's Xavi. You know, another player, another wonderfully talented player. I think actually towards the end of last season, we overplayed him though. I think there was a lot of times where Xavi was just playing over and over again, racking up so many minutes, and actually it would have been better maybe to play with other options, but they weren't available. But I think now we have the options, we have the availability of so many quality midfield players, and there might be times here where Xavi does start from the bench, where Xavi is brought on later in the game for an impact. You've got to remember, he's still only 19 years old, so he's still a young player here. He doesn't need to be playing every single minute of every game, but with all of those options, guys, there, Pedri, Gundogan, Frenkie de Jong, Oriol Romeo, Xavi, now pick three. If you were to play a game tomorrow, a big game, an important game, what would your midfield trio be there? If Xavi has to narrow it down to only three, then what partnership are you going with? Because I think the only one that you can say 100% for sure locked down is Pedri, because I think he has a set role. I think he is somebody who can thrive in that trio. You play him there, he will never ever let you down. And I think from there, it's really open. I think as time goes on, as Gundogan settles more and more, I think personally he'll make himself undroppable. I think he's going to be so good, so effective in midfield that it's going to be difficult there not to play him. Now, the ideal would probably be then just finish it off with de Jong. But as I've said there, is he going to be comfortable playing as that lone pivot? Maybe then Gundogan could drop a bit deeper to support Frenkie de Jong, but then does that affect Gundogan's game? So those are the kind of questions that Xavi will be asking himself. But like I said before, I think it would be hard to take Oriol Romeo out of the game. You know, he hasn't really put a foot wrong. You'd be punishing him there for not really doing anything bad, but that is the game right now, and Xavi is there too. It's so hard to keep him out the team. Maybe that's why Xavi keeps playing him in the forward line, but I just think right now we can't just play players out of position maybe because you want them to be out there, because you don't want to put them on the bench. Is Xavi as effective a player as we can see in that left wing role? We have to wait and see. We'll see what Ansu can do. We'll see what Abde does as the season goes on. Ferran may get opportunities as well in that forward line, and we'll see who is most effective. But I am really interested, guys, to know your thoughts today in the comments down below. What I want from you, three names. If you had to play an important game tomorrow, if you're the Barca coach, what is your midfield trio? Or the other alternative, guys, there's another option for you. Or would you not revert to three? Everything we've spoken about yesterday, about playing with more attacking players, having more threats, would you actually stick with Xavi's method of not playing with three, playing with more midfielders? And do let me know, guys, your thoughts down below. What would you do in that important game that I've just made up for tomorrow? I am interested to see what your partnership would be, and let's wait and see what Xavi does in these weeks and months to come of the season. I hope you're enjoying the opinion kind of based videos. Sometimes I forget about them. Sometimes I forget that you even really care about my opinion. That's just me. You know, maybe you don't. Let me know down below. I will catch you soon with more coming up. Thank you indeed for tuning in today. But until next time, as always, guys, Visca, El Barça.